For part 2 of creating seamless patterns, the next thing I'm going to do is take the pen tool and create some blob forms, which I already started, so I'll just go ahead and add one more in here. So I'm not really, thinking too much about what my blob is, but I'm just kind of making a few so that they more or less fit together. And then I'm going to select all 5 of these. And before I go and do that, just notice I made a new layer, and that's where I ended up putting all of them. So my layer 1 is the last textures that I did last time, and the layer 2 is the rectangle. So on layer 3, I'm going to hold shift and I'm going to select all 3 of these. Then I'm going to go ahead and go to Object and Pattern and Make. The new panel has been added to the swatch panel. Any changes? Well, in the pattern editing mode, notice up here, new pattern. Okay, so that I'm in pattern editing mode will be applied to the swatch upon exit. So this is my new swatch. Okay, so I'm going to go and click OK, and the whole screen gets filled. Okay, now from there, we're going to leave all of these settings the same, but in order to get the pattern to be more homogeneous and look realistic, we're going to go back in with the pen tool, and inside this rectangle I'm going to add, or a little bit outside of this rectangle, but just to get things to fit better together, notice that as I do this, it's adding it other places so it looks like it belongs together, right? So I could do that here to kind of get it to blend across. I could add a couple other pieces in there, but I just want to get it so that it kind of looks like it goes together, so it's not just sort of blank, and you notice it all kind of flows a little better right now. From here, I'm going to go ahead and click Done, and all of it disappears, but it's saved in my new pattern. So now I'm going to zoom out a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and do Control minus, and go to a different section of my page. So I'm going to go ahead and just go above this one that I did, and I'm going to pull this out. So I've got my pattern now. And from here, I can once again do Control C, Control V to copy and paste. And then I can take this guy and move it around a little bit so it starts to fill as more of a pattern. And I could duplicate this a few times if I want to play around with that, but for the purposes of this, you can see just it kind of goes together. So once again, I'm going to add another layer, put it underneath layer 3. So now layer 4, I'm going to do what I did last time, which is put a rectangle behind it, and I can choose what color I want to do. So it looks like it's saving my pattern though. I ended up with a stroke around all of this, so I might be able to turn that off. I'm going to give it a shot and see if it'll let me turn off the stroke. Nice. So I'm going to change this purple background to a different color so we can see it. So I'm going to go ahead and do sort of a teal, see what that does. And then from here, I can do the same thing that I did with the last one, which is selecting the 2 of these, going into the transparency, and I can play with the blending modes. So kind of seeing what it does. Ooh, I kind of like, how that works. I can play with the opacity to get it to look like it's more a part of the background. And then I'm essentially done with the second part of the tutorial.